What's up, guys? You know who it is. Marcus J. Jackson with another Live Life for you. No means no. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Shout out to the LGBTQ community. Um, no means no in every language. Okay? Uh, yes, no means no in every language. All right? Live Life series is dedicated to all those who struggle with suicide in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it be you're a survivor of someone who attempted suicide and they're still with us, or they have, if you yourself have attempted suicide and you are still with us, um, I'm thankful that you were able to click on this video at some point in time, and hopefully you found some value in it. Okay. Um, every night I'm on between the hours of 12 and 2 a.m. I usually do about an hour of information on how to become the strongest version of yourself. Just tips, life hacks, things like that to help you get through the day, to pull out of the depression and pull out of the anxiety, and just to help you become the strongest version of yourself. All right. So that's ultimately the purpose of Live Life is, ultimately to help people transition from, you know, everyday common person to the strongest version of yourself. All right. Um, Tonight we'll be talking about no means no, and I will have uh, Foxy Jackson is going to be a guest tonight as well. Um, she is the founder of I Speak Foxy, which is a organization that helps those who have experienced sexual assault and sexual violence. Um, she donates free coaching sessions. She donates clothing. She donates food. She assists with shelter placement, um, an array of different things, and a lot of that she pays for off her own dime. So, if you want to donate, that would be awesome too. The Cash App is inside the comments. I'm going to put that in right now as we speak. Oh man, allergies. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we got that. That information is there. The Suicide Prevention Month is the month of September. So, you know, make sure we are always, always looking out and checking on our people, our friends, our family members, especially those that we know who are struggling with these things. And especially if we know that they're diagnosed with depression or anxiety or things of that nature. Always be, always call and make sure. Sometimes you have to do more than texting. Um, Go ahead and call these people and make sure actually speak to them and find out if they are okay. Okay, that's something that we have to do more of. Um, yeah, we have to do more of that. More checking on our people and being there for them. Sometimes a listening ear is enough to help a person stay on this side of life as opposed to choosing the latter. Okay. Um, if you are struggling with suicide at this particular moment in time and you are in danger of hurting yourself or somebody else, please call 911 and get you some help immediately. If you need to talk to someone, the Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800 273 8255. They have resources available for you as well. If you want to talk to me afterwards, my contact number is 469 626 7486. All right. And I will be available till 2 a.m. You are more than welcome to call any time of the day. If I do not answer, just leave a message and I will get back with you. I guarantee you I will return your call, return your text message, or inbox as well. So, okay. So let me. I don't know if Fox is going to chime in through. Are you there, Foxy?
I'm here.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody can hear. All right.
Is anybody watching that can leave
Yeah.
a comment to see if they can hear me or not?
If anybody's watching, see if you can. Just let me know if you can hear Foxy on the. She's on the phone actually. So probably.
I'm incognito.
So yeah, I don't think anybody is on to even respond,
Okay,
um,
no problem.
but it's all good. Hopefully,
I can log on.
you sure? I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
as long as you can do it safely, that's cool.
yeah, I can log on. Hold on.
Do, 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 do. So,
Oh,
while
you
she,
can hear me. You can hear me. I just turned it on Facebook,
uh huh.
and I can hear myself talking in the background.
Oh, okay. Well, good, good. Cause I got it right here by the speaker, so that should be perfect. Um, so tonight, the topic is going to be no. No means no. Actually, no means no in every language. That is. Um, there a lot of time, and the reason why I have Foxy on as a special guest is because of this title. Um, she deals with her patient. She's a sexual assault nurse, and she deals with patients who have experienced sexual assault in some form of sexual violence. And she is a, I would consider, a expert on the subject. And she's definitely able to speak on something like this. And so that's why I brought her on the show again. So if you have any questions or comments for Foxy on this as well, please feel free to do so. But I know it's late, and I think most of the time we are reaching out to the people who actually need to hear this wonderful information. So this is the time between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. or is the highest probability of those who decide to take their own life or attempt to take their own life. It happens in this time frame. And I think the most recent update, it says from 12 a.m. at night to 9 a.m. in the morning, because a lot of times they wait until the house is empty and the kids go off to school, and that's a lot of times where they will attempt to take their own life as well. So, make sure you what I call that critical time period. Make sure you're reaching out to your friends, family, and talking to them, especially if you know they're going through some life changing situations. Okay, that could be traumatic or just regular daily life. All right. So anyway, Foxy, did you want to go ahead and start off?
Sure.
Okay, that would be awesome. It is all
Um,
you. Would you like me to just ask you questions, or you want to just kind of
yeah,
go
you can
go
just
with the
ask me
flow?
some questions.
Okay. Okay,
That's
fantastic.
easier for me because I don't ramble on all night.
Okay. So when you is it okay if I ask about the profession in general,
Yeah.
or okay? So what does a sexual assault nurse actually do?
We are forensic nurses, and when a patient comes in and they have had the experience of sexual assault, we are able to obtain a history, assess them for any trauma or injury.
Uh huh.
We do a complete acetone assessment and obtain a history for the purposes of diagnosis and treatment. And part of that
Okay. So is that a I can imagine you. I mean, you have a lot of people that come in who are, have been violated by the whole, no means no, um, concept. They've told that their, significant other or whoever they were dating that this is something that can't happen, and that's been, it's that's happened, and it's because of it's somebody that they knew and it was on a date. Is that pretty common?
Yes. It is commonly described as intimate partner violence,
Ah,
which
okay.
is one of the things that I made an effort to try to promote information about more, because we're quite familiar with incest and child abuse and, you know, what I call, quote, regular rape, when there's a stranger who attacks another person and sexually assaults him or her. But intimate partner violence is so unique because it is usually between two people who have a romantic or already established sexual partnership. And so there is this feeling that if one person feels violated, one person says no, there is sometimes the feeling that they are obligated to have sex, like in marriages. One partner feels like, for example, in a male-female, the female may feel like the man is obligated to have sex with her, and so she may rape him, because there are times when women rape men. There's also the incident where you could you have an argument that afternoon, and then that night, one partner wants to talk the other one into having sex with makeup, but the other partner is not. What the? Is not. Is also. I'm sorry. Is he having sex? And so the partner who's not into it
Uh-oh.
means no. It means that nothing after that.
You-
Can you still hear me? Because I feel like it's breaking up.
Yeah, it did. You broke up a little bit. You said the intimate partner. What happens with the intimate partner?
Oh, did you miss all of that?
Yeah, all of it was real. It was real choppy. Sorry about that.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
The intimate partner doesn't want to, but the other partner does.
right. The one who does no, I don't want to, or they're using nonverbal language to communicate that they don't want to have sex,
Hmm.
then the other partner has to respect that, regardless of if they already have an established relationship, an established sexual relationship, or even if they're married.
Right.
With someone does not mean that you own that person's body.
Oh, wow, that's big. You said it doesn't mean that you own that person's body. Um, that's big. So talk about that a little bit. Like, just kind of talk about the fact that you don't, just because you're married to someone and or your boyfriend and girlfriend or things of that nature, just because of that status, or you have a piece of paper and you've made these vows and so on and so forth, that it doesn't, I believe that too. I believe that it does not denote ownership, and a lot of people will make that, make the joke, to say, well, I got papers on him, or um, we have a marriage certificate, or we've been married, 20 something years. I own her, or I own him. So yeah, could you just kind of elaborate on that a little more?
person cannot have any other relationships with anyone else except for them, unless they have their permission. And sometimes it goes to the point of you can't go anywhere unless you ask me, or you can't talk to anyone unless you ask me, or unless I give permission. And that sense of being somebody's property or someone having ownership of another person is what leads to so many cases of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, sexual assault, and even the definition of cheating, because cheating occurs because you feel like you own somebody else's body. And I mean, we can go back as far as the days of people being enslaved in a different manner, to talk about people, human beings, being treated as property.
Okay.
Even when there are arranged marriages, people are sometimes treated as property because you give a dowry, you pay for that person. And so until we get to the point of rising above that lower mentality of being someone's property, or feeling like someone else is your property and they don't have the ability to control their own body and mind, we're always going to have these incidences of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and sexual assault, as well as some other things like even mental abuse. I think that is a huge issue in the community of humanity, is that one person wants to have authority over another person, when in actuality they don't even have authority over themselves.
Right. That's very big. Give me 1 second. All right, cool. Are you coming in? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I totally agree. I could not agree with you more. A lot of times it's not so much as not even in a sexual violence or domestic violence type of situation. Like she said, just off of general partnership agreement or boyfriend and girlfriend agreement, marriage agreement, we have a tendency to believe that we own each other, and we're the property of that person, and that's not the case. And there's a great deal of issue with that, especially for people who have not come into the knowledge of themselves to begin with. There's a you want to sit on this side?
Yeah, I'm getting my keys.
Oh yeah, sure. So you have to be very, very mindful of not only just that ownership doesn't just denote that, hey, I'm married. Also, it shows in your actions and the way you treat this individual. You treat your spouse and or your boyfriend. Would you cut that light over on the side too? Because it looks a little dull there. There we go. And the lamp. I think the lamp kind of gives it more of a. There we go.
Little ambiance.
Right. Okay, so Foxy will actually be joining me live. Right, she's not on the phone anymore, so she actually just walked in, so she's gonna get herself together here in just a minute. She'll be joining us here shortly. But just because it goes beyond that. It goes beyond sexual assault and violence, because a lot of people, because there's an ownership mentality, it holds back the person. Like sometimes they can't pursue the career that they want to pursue because of the the spouse or the significant other feels like they shouldn't do that because they want to make sure they stay safe, right? That's a sense of ownership. This person wants to try and move on, advance their career or be something better in their life, or want more, but they kind of they find themselves being held back by their significant other, and they may want to explore different things that may make them feel better about themselves. I've had a client who whenever she wants to get into things that are catered towards self-development and just uh, being the strongest version of yourself, holistic care, like things like yoga and things like chiropractic care, things like, just exercising and working out in general. You know, he tells her, no, it's fine. You look okay. It's not anything big. You know, you don't need to work out. You don't need to do yoga. You don't need to learn meditation or anything like that. And that's from a posture of ownership because she won't pursue these things because it makes him unhappy. So, and because she values her marriage and her relationship, she won't do it. She just won't do it. And I think that's a really, you do yourself a disservice and an injustice by not pursuing the things that you want to pursue simply because your spouse or your significant other just doesn't want you to. And I get it. There's some things that I totally understand. When it's safety involved, that's my thing. There's some things that I probably won't. I'm not too excited about Foxy doing, but at the end of the day, I have to be able to trust that she can handle herself, and she's able to do things that that I would deem dangerous or whatever. And I would hope that she would take my advice and say no. I probably won't do it because of whatever. But I don't own her. Like she's not my property, so I can't tie her to the bed and say, no, you're not going to go to yoga today. You're not going to be able to. I just that's not something that it's not something that I'm going to do. And I don't think a man who does that is secure enough in his manhood to allow his wife to become the strongest version of herself. She's looking to better herself through, yoga and working out and, reading books and, going to lectures. She's, if you're searching for a deeper meaning in the knowledge of self, it can be overwhelming. All right, it can be overwhelming, and I'll be the first to tell you that it can be difficult, and it can also be taxing on a relationship. So just be mindful that it's not so much as it's not exactly that cut and dry because a lot of it has to do with the person's upbringing, social norms, and things of that nature. So I will leave it at that and see if Miss Foxy wants to chime in a little more. Anything else you want to?
Well, I was looking for my paper that I had here.
So I was going to ask another question while you look for that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be the devil's advocate here. If we are married, let's just say we are married, and or you're my boyfriend and girlfriend. Wouldn't you be obligated to? I wouldn't necessarily consider it ownership, but you're just doing, what's best for the relationship. And I think if I wouldn't call it ownership though. I don't think it's owning somebody if, I ask you to, not to participate in something, or I ask you to do something, and, or I want you to participate with me in something and you don't do it. I feel like, that's something totally different, and it's not catered to quote unquote ownership.
Let me understand that.
Hmm.
So you're asking me about whether or not it's a sign of someone wanting to say that they are, it's a case of ownership if we're in a relationship and you ask me to, let me just, you ask me to, see if I'm still getting farther and farther away, to do something that you feel is best for the relationship.
Hmm.
It's not a sense of ownership. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, so like for example, I'm your husband, so like I why not? Like why would it ever be a time where you don't want to have sex? For example, like we talked about earlier, am I obligated to have sex with my spouse or significant other? You know, for the sake of the relationship, like isn't that a woman's duty or a man's duty to his wife? Or, isn't that your duty to each other to provide sexual satisfaction whenever requested, whenever wanted?
No,
I think that's what the Bible says or something like that.
no, no,
No?
no.
Yeah, let's build on that. Elaborate if
Yes. Cause
you will.
yeah. Yes, it may be something that quote builds the relationship because sex is magic. And sex is a form of communication, it's a form of energy exchange. Um, it is the way that many people show one another that they love one another. So there are instances in which sex is really good for the marriage. When a person is just not aroused, there could be many different things that are causing that lack of arousal. It could be physical health, it could be mental health, it could be spiritual health. I've had some people talk to me about how they, their significant other significantly changed after they became really religious. Then there were certain things that they didn't want to do sexually. There were there are some who have physical issues like men who have erectile dysfunction, women who have hormonal imbalances, people being tired. People can be overweight or underweight and their hormones are off and they just don't feel like it. There are other medical disorders that they could have going on where they're taking medication for certain diseases and it causes sexual dysfunction. And so there are many things, and then there's mental illness. People can be depressed, they can be anxious, they can be in a state of psychosis, they can be in a state of mania. Sometimes in mania, like in manic depressive or bipolar disorder, sometimes their sexual drive is high, and it can be too high for the other person, for their partner. And so you'll find that many of them will end up cheating or end up joining like swingers or other types of lifestyle choices because of that. And then there's just some people who just like sex and they go there. But there are many different types of reasons why people in a relationship why one partner wouldn't want to have sex at a particular time. Now, that being said, there should be some form of communication, verbally, non-verbally, on both parts, because, for example, you can have something that's common is a woman just getting out of the hospital from having a baby. Okay, so she's not really wanting to have a lot of sex. Now, there are some women who will, but typically their ultimate concern is healing from the delivery, and getting into the new routine of having a baby. And so many times we found that when people have babies and it's their firstborn, it really affects their relationship, because the woman will often take on more of the responsibility for feeding and changing diapers and sleeping, especially if they're nursing mothers. And then the dads take on more of a role of going outside the house to work. And so when they come home, they're still wanting the wife to be wifey before she had the baby, but now wifey has a lot of added responsibilities. And so there has to be some communication that goes on. And in that communication, the one who is speaking, whether it's verbally or non-verbally, the one who is receiving that communication must be listening to it. Because just because I say, no, I'm in pain, because there's a lot of people with fibromyalgia or chronic pain, and those types of things, if they're on medications, sometimes they're on muscle relaxants, and sometimes they're on nerve pills like gabapentin or Neurontin, and they can affect their ability to be in a state of arousal. So there are always reasons that can come up that can cause one person to not want to have sex at a particular time. However, the most important thing is for those two people to communicate that, because there are some elderly couples that have sex all the time, and then there are some elderly couples who never have sex. So,
Just kind of lean in towards so that you're not cut off right there.
because what is it? Oh, because of whatever health issues they have.
Right.
Or they may just be like, I've been with this man for 65 years and I just don't feel like doing that. I just don't have time to do that anymore, you know.
Okay.
But there is a communication that goes on between them. At no point is any one partner the property or obligation of another partner. Now, the word obligation, for example, I'm your wife, you're my husband, so we're obligated, so to speak, to take care of one another, to be concerned about one another, and that's just the essence of a marriage, you know. Those activities are not invasive. They do not invade my privacy. They do not invade my space. It's not invasive for me to care about you. However, whenever I get to the point of I'm taking your phone, or I'm throwing your phone because you won't let me have a password, because that's invasive. Whenever it gets to I am checking your clothes to see if you have had sex with somebody while you were gone to work, that's invasive. If I say that if you don't have sex with me, I'm not going to cook, you know, that's manipulation. So sex is not something that people should want to forcibly take or force someone to give. sex is supposed to be something that is freely given by the person who is involved. And so at any point in time, regardless of if it is best for the relationship, that's a matter of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because it may be best for the relationship that you cuddle. It may be best for the relationship that you hold hands, that you sit down and talk. Because obviously, if your top priority is just sex is the only thing that can fix this relationship, there are some other things that need to be talked about.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good. That's excellent. Thank you for building on that. That was good. That was really good. So let's move on from there because I want to talk about a little more about the no means no situation. So let me ask you this: how is there a lot of people that come in and it's been a situation where there's been a rape per se or a forcing of sexual activity, or is it are there other things? Is that like pretty much the basic or the norm when somebody comes in and they've been raped? Or sex has been forced on them when you go to as a forensic nurse?
Yes, for the department I work in.
Okay.
Because forensic nurses can also do domestic violence cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's any case where a person has been injured physically or emotionally and they come into the hospital. And I have to assess that person for any trauma or injuries for the purpose of diagnosing them with nursing diagnoses and treating them accordingly.
Okay.
And so it doesn't have to be sexual assault. It can be domestic violence or intimate partner violence or any type of person-to-person violence.
Okay. So what if we've been dating already and like we already had sex before? So why would it be a problem for us to have sex again? Like if we've done it before, we should be able to do it again, right?
You should, as long as the two people consent.
Right.
Consent is an ongoing thing. So one of the examples that the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center gave was if you say yes to giving someone $5, but then change your mind after thinking about it, they cannot take $5 from you, even though you said yes at first.
Okay.
So just because I said, yeah, I'll give you $10 or $5, and then I think about it and I'll be like, no, because I gotta have $5 to pay for parking when I go to work. Well, you can't just take my $5.
Yeah, that's $5 though. I mean, we're talking about somebody who is sexually aroused, right? And they want to satisfy that sexual thirst. Like it's. I know $5 is, they give the example of $5, but this guy or this girl is super horny, and that urge is there. So I mean, why would it be such a big issue if we've already done that before?
Because I said no.
Okay. Well, I mean,
that's it. It's because I said no. Because I don't belong to you. So there are other means for you to satisfy yourself sexually.
Okay.
You can go masturbate. You can go dig a hole and have sex with the hole if you want to. I mean, I really don't care what you do with it, as long as you're not violating me.
Okay.
Because you have that sex drive. That's your issue, not mine.
Okay. All right, cool. What's next?
There's the next one. If you're in a relationship with someone, they still must ask you if they can take $5 from you. Even the people you love can steal or rape. And that reminds me of when I was in one of my when I met Marcus, my previous relationships, I would always have to hide my money because they would steal my money. If it was in my purse, I would go to the store and then I don't have any money. If it was laying on the side of the bed, I get up the next morning, it's gone, and nobody knows what happened. Well, ain't nobody broke in the damn house, so who got it? And when I met Marcus, I remember I had gone to sleep and I had my purse there. And when I got up the next day, we went somewhere, and I just went in my wallet to get some money or to get something. I can't remember. And I had like $2 in there.
Ooh.
And I was so excited because my $2 were still in there. It's a, it is a sense of, when you take something from someone and it doesn't belong to you, the amount or the value placed upon that item is a matter of perspective. So for me, that $2 being in my purse still meant a huge amount. It meant so much to me. Whereas someone who has, let's say $300,000, $2, they may be like, oh, that's no big deal, I'll just get 2 more. You know, but then you also have to realize that even if I'm a billionaire and I lay $2 down, it may not be a lot because I've got so many other billions to spare, to use, but those are my $2. And if you'll take those $2 from me, then I cannot trust you. And for me, being able to trust someone has a lot to do with a sexual relationship. There has to be a certain amount of trust there.
Okay.
What's going on?
I was just putting a comment, so when they read it, when they go back through the comments, they can kind of see what we talked about. Yeah, tell me now. So, if we had sex before, then you cannot tell me no. All right. So.
Can I push you on
Yeah. Okay. So, I forgot the other question that I was going to ask, but okay. So I got a story that I'm going to share real quick, and this is especially it goes out to my younger men. There is a very, very fine line that we as men have to walk, because the whole rape or date rape thing or sexual assault thing means something totally different to us, and a lot of times we don't know what that is. But to be completely safe and to shatter any doubt whatsoever, when a woman tells you no, playing or not, right? It's very, very important, playing or not, because there's a group of young brothers out there that feel like, she's just playing hard to get, she's just playing tough, or she likes it rough, or things like that. And I know because I talk to her. I mentor children every single day. And they actually think that, because the girl is saying no, that it really means she wants to, because they end up having sex with her, and she's oohing and eyeing because she didn't want it, and now it's in, they're in the middle of it, and everything is going. Then afterwards, she says, you raped her, and she initially told you no, regardless if she was playing or not, and young women especially, they display their emotions differently. So they may be laughing and joking, and at the same time hurting. Sometimes that laughter is their cry. Laughter is their cry for help. So it may seem funny, it may seem like it's a big joke and everything is okay. But once the act is over, the young lady still feels violated. So I would invite you to, if you hear the word no, I don't give a damn what is going on. Okay? I don't care if it's rock hard and you ready to insert. You cannot, you will not, especially if you're under my mentorship, you will not. The minute you hear no, that is it. I don't care. The mood has changed once you have heard no, and you move on to something else, play another game that does not involve you being sexually active. Okay, because a lot of us, we have this sense of macho-ness that we want to stay connected with, and we feel like, if she don't give it to me, I'm just gonna take it, because I know that's what she wants.
Or this is
she
mine.
she wants it anyway, or she wanted it, so she was playing with me. She gave me blue balls. Stop. No,
People
okay.
been jacking off for years.
No, that is not what we're going to do. So by no means are we, going ahead with that particular act, and not being. So she doesn't need to be any clearer to you. It doesn't. You don't need to have mixed emotions. You don't need to be in a position where you didn't know what to do or you didn't know what she meant. She said no. Playing or not, the first time she says no, it's time for you to move on. Okay, because I had a young brother who was an athlete, and I was coaching him, and he got caught up with a young lady, and he ended up being the nice guy, taking her home that night, and she was with her drunk friends, quote unquote, and they left her. And he's the star athlete. He gets, because he's a good guy, his parents raised him right, he's not gonna leave anybody out there fucking hanging, right? But he ends up getting the short end of the stick, because later on, the young lady says he raped him, and all he did was go to the door and knock on the door and say, hey, your daughter was left out here, whatever. But found out who he was and felt like they were going to get some money out of him because he was going to go pro, and said that she was raped, or, and I'm just like, no, that's just not, you don't get to take the drunk girl home. I'm sorry, you don't. Call Uber for her, call her parents, call the police. Okay, you do not take the drunk girl home. That's for male or female. I would really, really, really stay away from taking the drunk friend home, or especially if you don't know her, the drunk friend from out of town who's just, so in love with you because you're the awesome football player or you're the awesome basketball player, and they just want to know you and be cool and all that. No, you do not get to take the drunk girl home. Call the police and have them take her to wherever she needs to go. Okay, because no means no. It does not matter if they're playing or not. And I know a lot of people, a lot of brothers don't. It's hard for they don't get that. They don't get that because we say, well, the women, they said mixed emotions. First she said she wanted it, now she says she don't want it. I didn't know that. I understand that you feel that way and you were aroused to the point to where you felt like it was no return, but it is when you get in front of the judges and the jury are not a jury of your peers, okay? I can guarantee you what's going to happen. The outcome of that for you is not looking good whatsoever. You already see what's going on in the streets anyway. So please do not be that person who doesn't understand what NO means. All right. Let me check the comments real quick. I got John that says respecting boundaries. Yes.
Yes.
Respecting boundaries. Thank you, John. Yes, you got to respect the. You know, if I was a young man dating out in this world now, I would say, hey, listen, here's a consent, here's a contract.
That's what it's gonna come to.
That I would probably type up something, especially if I was about to go pro or professional in some capacity. I mean, at any rate, I would probably do it just to protect yourself and say, hey, this is something, we consented to or whatever, especially if you think it's something sideways, right? I mean, you've been dating for about 5 to 10 years or whatever, and I'm pretty sure, it would be okay to go without the consent. But, if somebody you're just now getting to know, right, type up a little contract or something for you, and make sure, you have full agreement, and make sure the boundaries are set on what's going to happen, and what's not going to happen. And yes, I know things happen. We can't control the outcome of everything, and it's boring if you do this, and it's just more exciting if you just go with it. Well, just going with it has gotten us in trouble for the longest.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to start taking a more proactive approach to your dating life. So and just be aware of what's really going on out there. But yes, that's what I basically the gist of the information I wanted to impart to you tonight. Foxy?
I finally found some of my stuff online about intimate partner violence. I'm good. The intimate partner violence involves physical violence, stalking, and rape. So on here it's talking about the age at the time of first intimate partner violence victimization. Among those who ever experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner, more than 1 in 5 female victims and more than 1 in 7 male victims experienced some form of intimate partner violence for the first time between the ages of 11 and 17.
Wow.
Yes. The ages of 11 and 17.
Okay. That makes total sense then, yeah.
And this age group, that teen and preteen time, is a developmental stage of a lot of ego. Everything is about me. And so you have these children that are in these relationships of being stalked. Now they got cyber stalking, they got cyber bullying, just different things of talking about one another or making one another feel some type of way, even grabbing their arms and forcing them to go a certain way, or or not talk to someone, or making them feel afraid or pressured in order to have peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so during this time, it's the same reason why when parents divorce and their children are preteens or teenagers, they feel like the divorce was because of them.
Right.
When children are sexually assaulted during this time, they feel like the sexual assault was their fault. because that's the developmental stage that they are in. And so it is very difficult for them to come to a realization that it is not their fault.
Right.
And here we have, I mean, you've got 11 to 17-year-olds, male and female, being raped, physically assaulted, and stalked. That's that boyfriend that you broke up with and he keeps following you around the school,
Right.
or keeps wanting to hit on you around the school,
Yeah.
you know. And again, I feel like a lot of that starts at home, but it's not just the biological mom, dad responsibility. Back in the day, we had a community responsibility for raising children, because oftentimes children take on the weight of, I don't want to tell mom or I don't want to tell dad because I don't want them to be upset, or, you know, as in they're switching roles and they feel like they need to protect the mom and the dad
Yeah.
from whatever the truth is. But they'll tell Aunt Sarah or they'll tell Uncle Bubba, you know. So that is why it's important that as a family we begin to raise our children as families, as opposed to only having one person. And that family is not blood, okay? So please don't misunderstand me and think that when I say family, that means only those who are blood related, because the ones who have not been blood related have had a large impact in my life. And so family is, even now, the ones who my children call family, they're not all blood related, but they are spiritually related to us. So one of the other things was some of the physical conditions. Men and women with a lifetime history of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner were more likely to report frequent headaches, chronic pain, difficulty sleeping, activity limitations, and poor physical health in general compared to those without a history of these forms of intimate partner violence. Women who have experienced these forms of violence were also more likely to report asthma, irritable bowel syndrome, diabetes, and poor mental health compared to women who did not experience these forms of violence. And so that just kind of adds to, by the time someone has been in the age of 11 and 17 and they're going through periods of having intimate partner violence experiences, and then once they get out of that, then they get into their 20s and 30s and they start having manifestations of all of that stress in the form of physical and mental health issues. And then they get to a point where it's not even worth it. And they decide that it's not worth it. And I'm just going to take myself out. Hence why it's so important that I understand that this is about suicide. Marcus does these videos about suicide. But the one thing that we have to realize is that suicide is the symbolic response or the symbolic communication of what a person has no words to express.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that feeling comes from, I know, that was nasty,
That was
wasn't it?
deep. Thank you.
So we have to talk about the issues and the situations and experiences that lead up to people deciding that they're going to commit suicide.
Right.
There's always that background that everybody forgets about or they ignore, and then once the person commits suicide, then they're like, oh yeah, I guess that's what happened. You know, she used to go through this and she used to go through that, or he used to go through this or that, you know. So it's knowledge, and having the knowledge and understanding of the process and the patterns of life enable us to usurp the process, to like
Right.
jump ahead of it, you know,
Right.
and trying to veer it onto another path, intercept
Mhm.
in time for us to do some interventions to keep people here,
Right.
so that they learn the lesson that's being taught, which is ultimately, the ultimate lesson is how to love and forgive yourself. So
Right.
that's a whole nother,
Yeah, that's a whole other video.
yeah,
But
that's
yes,
a whole nother series.
you know, it's very very important that you take the time for yourself, love yourself. Okay, I love you. Foxy loves you.
I love you.
And I know that. And before I end, I want to make sure that you overstand that just because your spouse, because this is a big thing, a big issue, intimacy and in marriage or in long-term relationships, there may be a medical reason why your spouse is not able to become aroused. It's not that they don't love you. It's not that they don't care about you. And I know a lot, especially men, we really get in our feelings when, our spouse is not responsive to our sexual advances, and we become a little aggravated and we tend to become a little more aggressive because we feel like, well, it's got to be some reason. You talking to somebody else. You must be messing with somebody else, and it is very very it's very real, and I do understand because we have those brothers. We have those brothers that deal with that insecurity, but. Like she explained earlier, there are medical reasons why, your spouse may be unresponsive to your sexual advances, and instead of blowing up about it, and on the females too, you're not exempt. So instead of blowing up about it or belittling the person about it, or threatening to go be with somebody else, then
That's called coercion.
Yeah. So
coercive sex. That's
right.
Sexual assault.
And exactly, that's a form of assault. So let's go to the doctor. Hey, babe, let's go to the doctor. Let's go check out what's going on. If you really love and care about this person, you would do this. These things should be automatic. But sometimes we don't know. We actually live in a time where ignorance is very, very real. And I'm not joking. I'm not laughing about it because it's real. There's a lot of people who do not realize that there could be some underlying issue going on with your spouse, but whether it be male or female, as to why they're not sexually aroused or they're not, it could be something, and they might not even know it. They probably don't even know why they don't want to involve themselves with you sexually, or it might smell funny. It might have a funny smell to them, and they don't know why, and they're embarrassed to say something about it. So you be the person to say, hey, babe, I really want to talk about this. Let's figure out what we can do. He or she may feel safer understanding that yes, we can talk about this and we can make things happen. Besides forcing yourself on them, right? And I know we're all into the bondage, and everybody has these fetishes, and they want to be.
Mr. Gray made us sign a contract.
Yeah, exactly. He did. He made us sign a contract on 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that, guys. And that's pretty much everything that I wanted to impart. Because we've been a little bit over our time. So thank you so much for tuning in with us. Any last words? Okay. If
Join I Speak Foxy.
yes, go to I Speak Foxy. Go to the I Speak Foxy page on
Participate,
Facebook.
learn.
You know, participate, learn, leave comments or whatever. Um, go ahead.
If you have any ideas or anyone who wants to do some sponsorships for next year's I Speak Healing event, which is in April, please inbox me, call me, text me, whatever. It'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, if you didn't make it to the last year's I Speak Foxy event, make plans. Clear your schedule in April. I don't know which date just yet, but just clear your whole schedule for April. No, but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the comments, the feedback. It was fantastic. Shout out to my man John, man. We gotta hook up, bro. We gotta hook up. Thank you so much. Yes, you too. You have a good night, sir. Yeah, so thank you. We love you guys, and we wish nothing more for you than for you to become the strongest version of yourself. Okay, that's what we are here for. Feel free to reach out to us. We do relationship coaching, as you can tell, couples coaching, whatever you want to call it, and we also are life coaches. We're certified youth and leadership mentors and all that good stuff. So please feel free to reach out. Y'all take it easy. Live life to the fullest and try not to do too much. Peace.